Why are you doing that?
I'm just trying to get it. My hair. Sheila Redmond from the Hub City. God's country. Hello, Rachel Boren. Stronger and Wiser. Hello. Hello, Adri. Al Bear, Edison Al. Hello, Analu. Hello, AC and C12, Adrian. Angelique Boone. Hey, Tommy Jean. Tommy Jean.
Hey, Tommy Jean.
Tommy Jean.
Tommy Jean's coming.
She is. She's coming soon.
Coming on my birthday.
Yeah.
She's flying in on my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hello, Wheeze. Hashtag where's Wheezy? Hashtag who's Wheezy? Hello, Christy. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Dejasi. Alana. Tanya Thompson. I had a little jury duty, Tanya. You're supposed to get me out of that. Hello, Christy. Hello, Aaron. Savanita, Lisa. All right. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Amber. From Midland. Okay. Hey, I tell you what, Amber, I went through Midland. That was a long time ago. We took the RV through Midland, but that was a while back. Hello, Carmen.
I wasn't on that one. That was with the boys.
Yeah. Hello, Charles. We stopped at we rolled that 26-foot RV through a Dairy Queen in downtown Midland. Hello, Hector. What's up? I know, Tanya. I was just kidding. Hashtag buddy. Hello, Hannah. Beautiful person. Hello, Yana, Christy, Pomamable. Wow, we got a big group. Big group. Sam I am. My man. My man. Fooled me once.
Shame on
you. The point is I won't be fooled.
More evidence that I'm lopsided.
Whoa! Hannah Herb is having another baby. Due
really?
4th of July.
Wow, congratulations.
Man, they are knocking them out in the Herb family. Yeah, they are.
Wish we were having a baby. Not really.
At our advanced age? Really? That's what you want?
I can still do it.
That's what you want?
And Kellie promised me she'd have a baby before I die, so
Whoa.
I'm getting up there.
I like babies now. I've always liked babies.
Well, we can talk about babies.
We're going to
talk about
Talk about babies on the podcast.
Test 1, 2. I thought about getting a glass of wine tonight, but I don't know. Part of me wants a glass. Part of me doesn't.
Going to do the...
I can't decide.
The mega pint and be real confused like last week?
I wasn't real confused last week.
Oh, you're real confused.
No, I wasn't. Everybody that messaged me had my back on you saying, Emma Kellie, because they all had my back. Just saying.
1692. Give me a little something.
I already thought I did. Hello. Y'all can see how I'm lopsided now because my glasses, see how they're lopsided? Because my face is lopsided. I told y'all that.
Norma Stitz. Please pick up the red courtesy phone. Norma Stitz. Please pick up the red courtesy phone. Oldie but goodie.
I guess that's good is subjective. Welcome to A Sandwich and Some Lovin'. I am Kellie Rasberry Evans, and I am here with my husband and my podcast co-host, Allen Evans.
Hey, Train in the house.
Welcome to the podcast. We have got a lot to cover on this week's podcast. So much has happened since we last visited with you.
Really?
Yes. At the end of the last podcast, there was a little bit of controversy. Alan got upset with me when I was, correcting him on how he said Emma Kellie's name and when he was recreating a conversation.
You're still wound up about that, huh?
I'm saying a lot has happened since then.
That's a hill you're going to die on.
I'm not dying on it, Alan. I'm just talking.
Why are you starting this podcast bickering?
I'm saying I'm not. I am not. So anyway, if y'all didn't listen, you need to go back and listen to it. Because at the end of the podcast, I was pumping up
being lecherous
the son of one of our friends or our podcast family and friends' sons to my daughter, and Alan thought I was being lecherous.
You were being lecherous.
And now the mother of said son,
Andrea
heard the
Dowling-Gullidge,
podcast And you know what she said? She said,
Well, she texted both of us.
yes,
And she said she listened to the podcast
Yes.
and there were laughing till crying emojis.
yes. And I said, am I in trouble? And she said that her son just wanted to let us know that he gives swimming lessons.
And I said,
But I'm bummed.
and I said, you were lecherous.
I
And
was
she
not
didn't
lecherous.
disagree.
I was
She didn't
lecherous.
disagree.
Everybody knew what I was trying to do. So, and people that did DM me agreed with me. And that's all. That's the reason I brought up this whole story.
People that did DM you agreed
So,
with you?
yes. How many did you get agreeing with you?
All
How many?
28.
None. You got none.
You don't know.
All right. So, and also since last week, let's see what has happened. Oh, I fell again.
Yeah, let's go into that. I want to go into your fall.
again.
Yes.
Alan, if you can,
Yes.
I don't know if you can do this in sequential order.
Uh-huh.
But the other day you were trying to count off all the times I've fallen since I met you.
Oh, I've got them.
Now, I did fall a few times prior to meeting you. I'm probably a little rusty on some of the details, but I do remember.
I remember.
Before I met you. I'm saying
before?
before.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I do remember falling down the stairs at Florence Christian School, breaking the heel off my shoe, landing with my skirt above my head in front of Mr. Fincher, the principal, at the bottom of the stairs. That's one I remember. I also remember being a cheerleader, and we're running out onto the court, and we're about to turn the corner to go out and do our little cheer, and the floor was wet, and I slipped and fell in front of everybody in the stands. Tommy Jean maybe remembers that. She's listening, because we basically played in a warehouse that had concrete floors. It was weird. That's another time. Another time I fell. We used to have a carport, and there'd be oil stains on the carport. And so one of the things we used to do is put like dishwashing liquid on it and get the hose and the broom and sweep it out and stuff. And I fell doing that one time. And the only other time I can remember falling prior to meeting you, we had home video footage of this, but somehow it got destroyed, and I would love to see it, because the only thing left on it is my brother just slapping his knee, laughing hysterically. We went to the mountains, and on the side of the mountains, there would be these streams, running over the rocks, and really rapid streams and stuff. And we got out and we were kind of walking around in it, and I slipped on a rock and fell.
A slippery rock?
So that's 4 times that I can recall falling prior to meeting you.
Okay.
But there could have been more. They don't stand out to me.
Yeah, we'll go into the fall. You know what I think I'm going to do? I would need your help to do this, but I think it would be a funny bit, is I want to personally try to recreate all of your falls.
No, that would take too long.
I don't think it would.
Too long.
I don't think it would.
I don't,
We have one of them on at A Sandwich in Some Lovin', our
YouTube.
Oh no, it's on our YouTube channel. It's on A Sandwich in Some Lovin's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I recreated your New York City fall.
And I went back and showed it to somebody the other day.
The New York City fall?
We really took too long telling it. I told El Presidente.
There's a short version.
I only saw the long one.
No, there's a short version.
Oh, good, because I showed the long one, and I'm like, this is too much. It
Well,
was like from
then
the
why
live
didn't you
thing
show
we were
him the
doing.
short version?
I didn't know there was a short version. I just pulled up that one. Anyway, I don't know if that's a good idea. We'll see. But since I've met you, the first time was in Dominican Republic, right?
Oh, are we doing this now?
Well, I thought we were going to do that.
Well, are we going to talk about what we're going to talk about, or are we just going to launch into how many times you've fallen?
Well, you told me to go ahead and you said go ahead and start talking about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
You did. Didn't he?
Okay. So first of all, I went over to my mom and dad's to help them put up their Christmas decorations yesterday. And I told them you fell. They were very concerned. Very, very concerned.
Yeah, I fall a lot.
I know. They realized that.
But it's not because I don't have balance. I slip and trip.
Yeah, they were very concerned, as I was when you first told me. What was the first thing I said? Are you okay? I didn't mock you. I didn't laugh.
No, it's not. Falling is.
Falling's not funny.
I laugh when I see people fall, because it is funny.
It is kind of funny.
After the fact.
Anyway,
Everybody's okay.
So we were trying to figure out why you fall. So me and my mom and my dad were sitting around, and I said, I don't know. Kelly's fallen like 6 or 7 times in the 6 or 7 years that we've been together.
Yeah.
And I said, I think it's because, she's tall. So she has a high center of gravity. And then also she's not, and my mom and dad are just kind of looking at me. And my mom says, athletic?
I'm not.
And I said, Mom,
I'm not upset at that.
She would be the first to admit that.
I'm not athletic.
Well, that just means once you get in a position where you're about to fall,
I just have to go with it.
You're not going to save yourself.
I can't.
You can't save yourself.
How can I? It happened so quickly.
Right.
I literally am on the ground.
Right.
And now this last time I was falling, we'll tell in a minute. As I'm falling, I'm like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's just like a, I don't know how to explain the thought process. It's just like, crap, here we go.
Kind of like the Matrix, everything's in slow motion.
Yeah, sort of.
Well, the first one I can remember was,
Dominican Republic.
We weren't married.
Mm-mm.
You slipped and fell in a hotel room, marble floor.
Covered in water.
Nude.
We don't need to go into graphic detail.
It sounded like a stake, like I threw a stake up in the air, and then that stake hit a wet marble floor.
Yeah, it would have been really bad because I was also going down. It was all marble staircase. So if I'd have fallen and hit my head, I'd have been dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bad fall.
You might have had like a shower cap on too.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I think you did.
I did not.
Or a towel on your head. Yeah, I think you did.
Okay, that was number one.
I can't name them in sequential order, but the most famous of your falls is the fall at the 9/11 memorial.
Yeah.
Kelly and I are walking. She's got her arm in the crook of my arm.
It was 0 degrees, literally.
It was so cold. We were bundled up, head to toe. There's a lot of people there at the 9/11 memorial looking around. I can remember.
You're waiting in line to get in.
Yeah, it was a nice day. It was just cold.
Freezing.
We're walking, and I turn my head to the left, and I see a sign that says, "Watch your step." I turn to my right to tell Kelly, "Watch you," and she was already down on the ground. She tripped and then went to her knees, and then from her knees, like her head kept going.
Yeah, what do you call it? It's not.
It was like
not centrifugal force. What is it called? My momentum.
Momentum.
My momentum. I landed on my knees, but then I just kept going.
Right.
Face planted. Chin planted.
Because of your large melon.
I guess so.
And then the whole place was like, whoa, whoa.
It was bad. That was a bad one.
Yeah, so I helped you up, and then somebody came over. "Ma'am, are you okay?" And then we had the one in the front yard where you
pretty much, yeah.
You went to go walk one of the dogs?
I didn't even get 3 houses down, and I was walking Larry and Zoe. And typically when we start off, the dogs are ahead of me, pulling me. They're so excited. But for some reason, Larry was dragging. I mean, like literally dragging. And we were only 2 or 3 houses down. So I turned around to say, "What's wrong, Larry?" And the sidewalks are uneven, and I tripped, and I just boom, boom. I was face down on the cement again. The first thing, I'm shaking. I remember what I was listening to. I was listening to Janet Jackson, "Love Will Never Do Without You." Now I have flashbacks to that fall every time I hear that song, and it's one of my favorites.
So
it was awful. I called you.
You called me, but I was with Dylan across town.
I fell again.
Cole was home. So I texted Cole. I said, "Look, Kelly's out front. She fell." He goes, "I got it."
Yeah, I came hobbling up.
Ran outside. I don't know what happened, but I think
he was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, buddy." I went and sat down. He got me a wet paper towel for my little wounds.
Yeah.
Another time I was in a hurry. I was walking through, I'm not going to say the mall. I was walking through a mall.
Mm-hmm.
It was a multi-level mall in the area, and I was wearing flip-flops.
Big skating rink.
I wasn't wearing flip-flops, and I was in a bit of a hurry. I had to be somewhere. And from the 3rd floor, apparently, there was a leak, and it dripped all the way down to the bottom floor, and my flip-flop hit it. And one leg went in front of me, one leg went behind me. I crashed. It was awful. And the whole thing was caught on a security camera. It was bad. And the mall security, I'm sure they thought I was going to sue them, but I'm just not I could have sued, but I didn't. I'm not a litigious person.
I was waiting for you to use
not a
the word
litigious person. I love that word, litigious, but I'm not.
Yes.
And they had their head of insurance call me. I was like, I just told them what happened. Mm-hmm. But then the mall I guess they thought I had a sense of humor about it, because they sent me a roll of paper towels and a gift card for a pedicure at the place at the mall, along with a note, that's some kind of like lighthearted note. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't think that was the appropriate response.
Didn't find the humor in that?
When I did not sue them.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously? That's what I get? What if I was thinking, if I had been an 80-year-old woman, I could have died. They fall, they break their hips, they die. That's it. Break a hip, you die. Thankfully, I was okay. That was another
So
one.
you fell at the mall. New Year's Eve party.
That doesn't really count. I was drunk.
That absolutely counts
No,
because we both fell.
We were getting out of an elevator and we both kind of, you could have fallen and I just fell with you.
We both fell to the ground, both of us. And then I got up and then kind of did a fireman carry.
It was New Year's Eve.
And then dumped you in the room. And then I went back down to party.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Another one, it wasn't quite a fall to the ground, but you did the bit where you tripped again. We were walking together on a dog walk. You tripped and then did windmill arms trying to like run and not fall.
Though, but I didn't fall.
But it was funny.
That shows how good my balance is.
But it was funny.
Let's just fast forward to the most recent fall real quick.
Oh yeah. Okay. Tell that.
Okay. So
and then do that.
This first and then tell the story? Or
yeah,
what?
Do that.
All right. Really quick. I see fine without glasses, but I'm wearing my readers right now. As a matter of fact, I love my readers. I think they're so cute. And these are my pair eyewear readers because what I love about them is you can build an entire wardrobe. You can have a whole eyeglass collection with one pair of eyeglasses. How do you do that? Well, it's because they have these magnetic top frames. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel right now, you can see me just taking them on and off right now. Boom. It's just like you just change your look in a snap. And they have top frames that are so inexpensive. Okay, the base frames, they start at $60. That's with prescription. You can go onto the website, paireyewear.com/sandwich. Make sure you go there. And you can virtually try them on. Now, these are my Kirby's. These are my Kirby's, but I think I need a pair that's a little bit wider. And Pair Eyewear has added a wider collection because there's a lot of big head people in this world, Alan.
There are.
And so now I've ordered this new pair and they're called, I wrote it down, the Harper. They're really cute. I got them in a beautiful tortoise color. And I got an icy blue marble top frame to snap on. But the thing about these top frames, they start at $25. So you've got the base frame starting at $60. And for just $25 more, you can change up the look to match your wardrobe, your mood, the season, the holidays. These are my Valentine's Day ones. This is last year's collections with the X's and O's. So I felt I was in the mood for love today, Alan. You didn't notice.
Oh, wow.
But they've got a Harry Potter collection. They've got a Charlie Brown and Peanuts, Snoopy collection.
Nice.
They've got your favorite sports teams. They've already got their Valentine collection up and their St. Patrick's Day collection. Fun, affordable, so many. They have classic colors too if you want to keep it simple. And like I said, you just change it up thanks to these little magnets in a snap. New designs drop every month, including fun collaborations. And you get free standard shipping along with a flexible 30-day return policy.
Visualize a fantastic new year with Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com and use code SANDWICH for 15% off your first pair. And support the show by mentioning that a sandwich and some lovin' sent you in your post-checkout survey. Don't forget to do that. That's Pair, P-A-I-R, eyewear.com. Code SANDWICH.
That's it. All right. I really do think they're cute, but I am looking forward to getting them a little bit wider.
My dad's going to do Pair Eyewear.
Yay. Your dad.
Y'all
don't know.
Another reason I went over to my mom and dad's house, I helped him with the Christmas decorations, but my dad's lens popped out of his glasses.
Yeah.
And he's had this pair of glasses literally 15 years.
He will not give them up.
So he wanted me to super glue the lens back in the frame. But he couldn't open the super glue bottle because he couldn't see the directions because he didn't have glasses. So I go over there, I put on my glasses to read the super glue bottle and how to do it. Well, I ended up getting super glue all over my hands.
Everywhere. Yeah.
So little tidbit before you finish your last fall. If you ever get super glue on your hands, don't panic and definitely don't stick your fingers together.
No.
Just get some nail polish remover that's acetone based, a little cotton or a cotton ball, and it'll come right off.
Well, it takes a little bit of work.
Takes a little bit of work.
Not right off. It's not a miracle.
Yeah, but you can't, soap and water doesn't take it off.
No. But his dad, he sat on his glasses or something, and one of the arm, you call that an arm? What do you call that? A stem? The piece that goes back, over here. It was pointing almost like at a 45-degree angle up off his head. He just wore them like that.
Funny you say that.
For a year or so.
Oh, it's been years like that. He said he went to the grocery store the other day. Dad was telling me. He said he went to the grocery store. He said he was checking out. The lady's looking at him, and she said, "How come your glasses are going halfway up your head?" That's what she said to my dad.
Right. Because
I would have said, "Why don't you mind your own freaking business?"
But honey, everybody that looks at him thinks that. They just don't say it out loud. Everybody.
Why don't you worry about checking out my groceries there?
Oh my gosh.
Sweetheart.
She just finally had the nerve to say something, but he's finally getting a pair of pure eyewear, so we're excited about that. Okay, so if you've listened to, I think 2 podcasts ago, we talked about the crap building that we are in with the Kid Craddock Morning Show. It's just a nightmare. And, so we came back the new year, no water. We haven't had any heat. That's kind of gotten fixed now because the temperature is warmer outside. There has to be a 25-degree differential, whatever. So what was it, Monday or Tuesday of this week? When did I fall? Monday, maybe? I don't know. So we're sitting there and we're in commercial break and our fire alarm starts going off. Okay, this is a nationally syndicated radio show and the fire alarm starts going off and usually it cuts off pretty quickly. It wasn't cutting off. So we couldn't come back from commercial break. They had to play some old thing we recorded a long time ago. So I'm sure the audience is like, what is this? They were supposed to come back and do, does that make me crazy or something? And it's something completely different. But the fire alarm, it's one of those that is so incredibly loud. I think they do this on purpose because, you've got the stubborn employees in the building that are like, the building's not on fire. We're not leaving. It makes you feel like your eardrums are going to bleed. It is so piercing and sharp and very quick, like every, I'd say 7 seconds. So in our studio, the alarm is right above Anna's chair, which is right next to the door leading out of the studio. Mm-hmm. Now, because we're a radio studio, we need to have soundproofing, right? So the door that leads into our studio is soundproof. It's thick. It's heavy. Every morning when I come in, I have to throw my body against it to kind of open it up. It's really, you have to tug on it when you're leaving and really bump it when you're going in. It's a heavy door. Mm-hmm. But my ears are killing me. So everybody piles out of the studio and the door's shut. So I have my fingers in my ears and I go up to the door. And I'm trying to time it out. Back, back, back. I mean, imagine blood spilling from your ear holes.
Blood spilling from your ear holes.
It would burst your eardrums, Alan. It's that loud. So I'm trying to time it out where I can grab the door, pull it with all my might, throw my fingers back in my ear holes, and run out to safety.
Sure.
So I'm timing it out and I'm ready to go. You're like, okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. So I reach out. I have my right finger still in my ear. My left hand goes to reach the door. And with all the strength I can muster, as non-athletic as I am, I think I grab the door handle and pull with all my might to shove my finger back in my ear. And I miss the door handle. Mm-hmm. So as I yank back, I throw myself off balance and I go sailing backward. I land on my tailbone. My arm hits the bottom of Anna's chair and my head hits the console.
Oh my goodness.
And I roll over with my fingers in my ears in a fetal position.
Nobody there.
Nobody saw me. And I'm just lying there in a fetal position with my fingers in my ears thinking, how did this happen again? How am I going to get up?
Was Trey there in that little room? Nobody was there?
Nobody saw me.
Wow.
And then 30 seconds later, I'm like trying to roll over to my knees and Anna comes to the door and she looks and she goes, are you all right? I was like, no, I fell again. Mm. So that's what happened. I threw myself on the floor. And this is a floor that's got basically cement and carpet.
Like that industrial gray carpet. Yeah. That might be the original carpet to the building too.
No, it's not the original.
Oh, is it not?
It is not the original.
Oh, it's been replaced.
It has been replaced.
Wow.
But we've also been there since the week after 9/11. I think it's been replaced once. Goodness. So anyway, that's what happened. And again, I'm not a litigious person, but I think when I'm okay. I've got a big bruise on my arm.
No. It's no one's fault other than yourself.
But if you fall on the company property.
Because you tried to open a door?
Because the fire alarm was going off. If you fall on company property, if anything happens, you can go on the company's insurance or whatever, and they take care of it. Al ran a race as part of
man.
Al, we were doing a stunt on the show one time where he was racing Jenna, and he blew his knee out and had to have surgery. Guess who paid for it? The show did because he was doing it for work. Anyway,
but you're just trying to go into a room.
I was trying to leave a room.
I don't know.
Anyway, I got a bruised arm and a bruised ego and a bruised tailbone, and my head hurt for a couple of days, but I'm sure I'm fine.
I'm glad you didn't hit it on like the corner of a desk or something.
I know, Alan. So that's my big fall story.
Is our life insurance
Add
up
it
to
to the list. We need to do our wills again, make sure we've got to do some, updating.
Yeah, one thing we've been working on, or I guess I've been working on a little more, is at the beginning of every year you got your resolutions, but you also look. At least I do. I kind of review like the previous year financially and kind of like where we're going this year.
Because you're in charge of the tax preparation.
Yeah,
and
because
all
we
that.
have freaking taxes coming up. So
I've been having an earful about how much we spend eating out.
I've not been giving you an earful. I think I've been very, very pleasant and reasonable about this entire thing.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so I followed Dave Ramsey, who's a famous financial guy on Instagram. And I've always thought he's kind of interesting, his little sound bites, and the things he says. And I agree with a lot of it. So,
but not 100% of it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Some of it doesn't apply to our situation, but a lot of it I agree with. It's common sense stuff, which I like. So I went and bought one of his books, and I've been reading it. And I've just thought, I talked to Kelly last night. I said, I think there's some of this we could do to kind of rein things in a little bit.
Alan said, the thing is, if we start paying for things in cash, paying cash instead of charging, cash hurts a little more, right? It's kind of like shocking if we go out and have a nice dinner at, Albernays. You ain't getting out of there cheap, right?
You ain't getting out of there for under $250.
You lay down your credit card and you just like, we'll deal with it later. But if you're shelling out, 20, 40, right. 60, it hurts.
It's psychological.
And I looked at Al and I said, are you going to make us start doing the envelopes?
I'm not going to do the envelopes.
If y'all are familiar with Dave Ramsey's program, you have a budget and...
Well, everyone should have a budget.
Should they? If you're not in financial distress, I don't think it's really... So
you don't care to know how much is coming in and then how much is leaving? You just are like, oh, whatever.
Look, I took care of that for almost 50 years of my life. When I got married, I handed that over to you. You could be ripping me off. You could be screwing me front ways, back ways, upside down. I don't know. But I just like, here's my paycheck, honey. And here's my credit card bill, honey. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what's coming in.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going out. I used to know.
Listen to this. In what she's failing to tell you, good, strong, sweet, clean, dear listener, is that Kelly has access to everything.
But I don't look.
She has access to all the information, all the accounts. She actually yesterday, I said, this is the login. This is my login to go in and look at all the financial stuff.
I know what your stuff is.
No, I know.
But I don't go look.
Well, but you should. And that's a Dave Ramsey thing. If you're going to, in a marriage, you should be, one of his things is, you should be on the same page when it comes to finances. Because as a married...
Oh, we are on the same page. You take care of it. And you're fine with it.
I don't mind doing all the bill paying and taking care of.
And sitting in the tax guy's office.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that.
They love me, by the way. Just so you know.
Good.
They love me.
Why did you throw that in? Do they not care for me?
Well, they always talk about how when you used to go there, you would just kind of sit there.
Because I don't know what's going on.
Sit there they say you would just sit there with this glazed look on your face.
I don't care. I'm just like, here's my paperwork. What do you need? Am I getting anything
Come
back?
on, the tax people.
It's like, am I getting anything back or do I owe? That's all. I'm like, I don't understand.
You meet with the tax people once a year. You got to show them a little love,
I
do
small talk, but I don't understand any of it. I don't understand it. That's why hopefully I pray to God. I've surrounded myself with people that aren't going to screw me.
Anyway, on a more serious note, I'm telling Kelly, we've talked about this, like we're at the point in our lives where time is not exactly like on our side anymore.
Time
right.
ain't on our side.
Right. So it's not like we have 35 years to invest and retire. Like,
no, we don't.
We're past that. We're not in our 20s and 30s anymore. So that being the case, it's now time to really step on it because we've done really well with it. But I think as you get even closer and closer, you just, once you've eaten up that last 10 or 15 years, it's over. It's gone. It's done.
But like I also told Alan, I said, look, you can also save, and then keel over.
True.
And you never took that vacation. You didn't go eat at those fancy restaurants. You also have to enjoy your life, right?
Yes.
I said, yeah, it'd be great. You work your whole life, and you leave it to your kids, and then they're just going to go blow through your money. So, there has to be a healthy balance. So my only question is, how much is in my envelope? Am I going to have a budget that I'm going to have to follow?
We're not going to do the envelope. See,
Thank goodness.
Part of Dave Ramsey is he works with people who are in desperate, dire situations.
Well, what are we taking from Dave?
They make $40,000 a year, but
they got $400,000 in debt.
They're in $80,000 of debt.
Worse.
Yeah. So his thing is getting people to get out of that and then start saving for retirement.
Right. He does the snowball. I used to listen to Dave Ramsey all the time. But then it got redundant,
But a lot of what he says, it's like stuff we're already doing, which makes me feel good. He's like, your best investments, long-term investments, are mutual funds with Standard & Poor's 500. Or, I know you hate this stuff. Or mutual funds that are in the stock market, because over time, they will always earn about 12% over time, over a long period of time. So if you're going to invest consistently, he's like, do it in mutual funds in the stock market. That's what we've always done. That's what I've always done.
I'm so glad.
That's what you've always done.
I'm so glad.
So that it makes me feel good to hear him say that, So I don't know.
I just do what I'm told to do. I was told to invest in my 401k, and I've done that since my 20s when I came to work in Dallas, and I started investing in my 401k. And here we are 30 years later, and I think I've got a nice little sum in there. I always do the maximum donation. I do a little extra is taken out of my paycheck to go to savings and investments, and I hire somebody to do that for me. And then that's all I know. I'm not a financial genius.
Well, I'm not either, but
you know more than I do.
I feel like I have common sense. I'm not the smartest dude in the room, but I feel like I have a good deal of common sense. Okay. And some of this is just like common sense.
Well, good.
You know what I mean? So
okay.
Anyway, that's what we've been doing with that.
I thought you were going to share some tips or something. Why are you just not going to share any of your Dave
Ramsey tips?
I thought that's what you were going to do, was talk about the Dave Ramsey stuff.
I just started the book last night.
Have you not gotten to the debt snowball yet?
Well, the debt snowball is, if you say you've got 5 credit cards, you pay off the one with the lowest balance first. And then once that's paid off, whatever you were paying on that one, you add that to the next one and then pay that one off until you're down to the biggest one. And so the amount you're able to pay on each card gets bigger as time goes on.
He also believes in eating like beans and rice, really cutting back on eating and taking. You haven't heard his beans and rice and beans. Oh, that's a big player with him. And that, get a second job. And he always said pizza delivery. But then, in the news every day you hear about the pizza guy getting murdered because people, I'm like, ugh.
Okay, I'm halfway through the book. I haven't heard anything about beans and rice or pizza delivery. But
I'm telling you, that's what he says on his radio. That's what he said on his radio show.
He has said if you don't do some of these things, that you're going to be looking for a book on 40 ways to make Alpo dog food when you're 70 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to be that.
Alpo fricassee.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy.
No.
Yeah. Okay, babe. You want to do that, and then I've got interesting stuff.
I can do that. How are y'all doing with your resolutions? I know I can't really hear what you say right now.
I'm still on it.
You are. You're doing a good job. If you're trying to stay on track with your eating goals, I'll tell you, one of the best things you can do is order Factor. I'm going to tell you what, this is like my favorite. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery is the best. These are chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered to your door. And here's the beauty. These things are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. That's it. It's cheaper, way more delicious than takeout. Factor has over 35 meals you get to choose from every week that work with whatever eating plan you're trying to follow. Keto, protein plus, vegan, veggie, calorie smart. That's what we're ordering. And Factor also makes it easy, to stick to that program, even if you have like a special occasion, like maybe you're wanting to do a romantic dinner at home on Valentine's Day that's coming up. They have a Gourmet Plus option that's perfect. Factor also has over 55 weekly add-ons, including breakfast, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, veggie sides. And you don't have to know how to cook. You don't have to do any prep. All you have to know how to do is work a microwave. And in 2 minutes, you're ready to eat truly delicious food. I just looked at this week's meal options that include jalapeno lime cheddar chicken, Nona's Sunday beef bolognese, truffle butter filet mignon. That's just 3 examples of this week's options. And I cannot wait for the turkey tetrazzini to come back around. That's my favorite. Factor's flexible. You can change your order up every week with plans ranging from 4 to 18 meals per week. You can also pause or reschedule deliveries at any time. You will love Factor.
So head to factormeals.com/sandwich50 and use code sandwich50 to get 50% off. That's code sandwich50 at factormeals.com/sandwich50 to get 50% off.
I'm telling you, I love them. I love them.
We love Factor Meals.
I can't wait for our next delivery.
Okay, look, before we do interesting stuff, let's hear your picks to go to the Super Bowl. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC. In the NFC, you have the Detroit Lions, kind of the surprise team of the season, versus the San Francisco 49ers.
I want to go Lions just because I really want them to do well. The people that have been doing the packages about all the fans, the Lions fans that have followed this team for decades, it just touched my heart. So I'm going to go Lions, and I'm going to go Kansas City just because I like Taylor Swift.
Okay. My heart would say Detroit as well, because they haven't won squat in the history of the franchise.
Yeah.
You think the Cowboys have had a drought? These fools have never even been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I hope they beat San Francisco.
I do too.
But they will not beat San Francisco.
Why?
Because San Francisco is a much better team.
Where are they playing?
In San Francisco.
Oh no.
So I want.
Well, you know what? The Cowboys were going to win at home. Everybody was betting on the boys, and they lost at home.
Oh, well, my pick is I'm taking San Francisco, even though I want Detroit to win, and I will be pulling for Detroit. But I think San Francisco wins that game. And then Kansas City is going to Baltimore, another road game for Kansas City. Baltimore's got MVP, Lamar Jackson, but Patty Mahomes is just, the dude he's too good in the playoffs. Give me the Chiefs.
I thought for sure you were going to go complete opposite of me.
No, I think it's going to be the Chiefs and San Francisco.
All right, we'll see.
That's what I think.
We'll see. Now that we've gotten that out of the way.
Now that we got that out of the way, let's do a little interesting stuff. Did you see this article about a California woman who grew the world's longest arm hair?
No, I did not.
This is recent. California woman earned a Guinness World Record title, babe, when a single strand of hair growing out of her bicep was measured at 7¼ inches long.
That's crazy. I know I'm not alone in this. Have you ever just woken up one day and suddenly, we look in the mirror every day, right? And suddenly you've got like this 3-inch hair growing out of your eyebrows. Like, where the heck did that grow from overnight? I've had a random long hair grow on my arm before, just like sticking up, and it's like 3 inches. But I notice it before it gets to 7 inches and I pluck it. She was probably fascinated by it and just wanted to see how far it could grow.
I've had some really long ass hairs.
Oh,
Marcy
wow.
Davis Sutherland told the Guinness World Record she didn't discover her unusually long arm hair until 2012, when she was a junior in high school. I was at Disneyland with my best friend Kaylee's family when her brother pointed out a hair on my arm, Davis Sutherland said. He was telling me that I had an extremely long hair, and his original thought was to pull it. That would be my thought too.
Yeah, pluck it. That's what I do the minute I see it.
Pull that sumbitch. Why is it growing out of your bicep? Davis Sutherland refused.
Why do you keep adding a T to bicep?
Davis Sutherland, why do you got to tell me what's perfect for me? Davis Sutherland refused to let him and decided she would attempt to grow the hair out for a potential world record.
There you go.
She said her hair would often approach 6 inches. I'm jealous. But would frequently end up breaking or getting accidentally plucked. She said her doctor measured the hair at 5.59 inches, which would have been enough to earn the record, but she decided to wait a few extra months to get a more impressive figure. Her arm hair was officially measured in December at 7.24 inches, earning her the title for the longest arm hair for a female. Davis Sutherland said she's aiming to keep growing the hair until she overtakes the overall world record for longest arm hair, which is held by California man David Reed at 8.5 inches.
And do you pluck it ever? Are you just going to die with that?
I think for me, it would get to a point where if it was like about 3 or 4 inches, I'd always want to pluck it. But then if it got to be freaking 8 inches,
you've got some long. I mean,
I'd be like, man, I'm proud of that.
Your arm hairs are at least an inch.
No,
they're pretty long.
They're not. Those aren't.
That one right there.
Those aren't even half.
That's an inch. Look at that. That's an inch.
I'll take every inch I can get. So yeah, longest arm hair. I bet I got them on my butt longer than that.
That's pretty long.
Thank you. Did you hear about this one? My brother-in-law sent me this. Well, sent it to me and my dad.
Don't say the F word. Yes, I saw this one. And I read the article. I already know.
Excessively farting passenger.
Flatulent passenger.
Reportedly causes an American Airlines flight to turn around?
Yeah, it's a little bit, the headline is a little deceiving. I thought when you hear that headline, you think they're midair. It's so gassy that people are gasping that they have to turn the plane around. But there's a little bit more to it than that.
This is almost like the world's biggest boat match, if you kind of break this down. So an American Airlines passenger reportedly passed gas and loudly bragged about it.
Yes.
I see nothing wrong with that. But he was on a recent flight from Phoenix to Austin. I've passed gas and loudly bragged about it.
What is that? But he was on a flight. Oh, you mean?
But he's on an airplane.
He's on an airplane.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've done it in the living room. I've certainly done it here in the orifice.
But you don't.
I've done it in my car.
You never brag. You look sheepishly at me like.
I've done it on the motorcycle. What do I look like?
Well, I mean, we're on a podcast. People can't see my face.
I know, but what do you do?
You do a sheepish look at
me.
What
does that mean?
Sheepish.
Like I'm ashamed?
You look at me like, yeah, like kind of like, did you hear that?
Like
You're busted. You're busted. Yeah.
Okay. A fellow flyer documented the smelly incident on an Austin subreddit. The plane was forced to return to the gate and the passenger was removed.
So what happened was the guy was really loud and he said, if you thought that was loud, and I think he belched or something. Go. Okay. I thought you were done reading it.
No.
Okay.
Here's a eyewitness. I was seated near the row where the situation occurred. The passenger recalled in the Austin suburb. While the plane was still at the gate, the documentarian says they saw and heard a, quote, audibly disgruntled and, quote, maybe hungover man. He reportedly exclaimed, "You thought that was rude? Well, how about this smell?" And then proceeded to loudly pass gas. Mm-hmm. So he just produced one there on the spot. Huh? I don't know what provoked that comment. And while kind of funny to overhear, it was uncalled for, especially coming from a grown man on an airplane nonetheless. Mm-hmm. But the transgression didn't end there. Mm-mm. The man who just purposely farted moments ago decides to loudly and condescendingly say, quote, "Yeah, everybody, let's just eat the smelliest food possible all at the same time," the poster wrote, seemingly referred to a scent unrelated to his own actions.
Probably somebody brought a stinky sandwich on the plane. You know, people bring on just stinky food, and that's rude too. You have to have some etiquette about that, right?
In response, a man in the next row reportedly remarked, I guess to the guy who farted, "If you don't like it, you can fly private." To which the gassy passenger replied, "That's so freaking rude." So we've got a Boda match.
Yeah.
The Boda match is your food stinks on this plane, and I'm hungover and I'm drunk, so I'm going to cut a big smelly fart in retaliation of your freaking Caesar salad.
Sounds about right.
Of your freaking Caesar salad you decided to bring on the plane. The stewardess say, "Sorry, the flight attendant said that you can't bring salads on this airplane, by the way."
Who said that? That happened to you?
No, that numbnuts that article you had that one time about
I
all
don't
the things I
remember.
can't bring on a plane. Remember that? Caesar
Oh,
salad.
that
or
it's
something?
rude.
Yeah.
Because it smells.
Right.
It's just rude. There's not a law against it, but it's rude.
Well, this guy seemed to think it was rude. Another passenger chimed in. I think we'd all agree you're the rude one here. The spat continues with the flatulent flyer responding, that is just so low class. Before another nearby passenger said, well, you're back here in economy with the rest of us. This is a classic moto match.
Yeah.
The scuffle caused the plane, which had left the gate and been moving toward the runway for takeoff, to stop and return to the gate, according to the Redditor's post. At this point, the flight crew had to get involved. We get back to the gate, and a flight attendant comes back and informs Fart Man that he will not be staying on this flight. He simply replies, I don't understand.
What did I do?
And she tells him they'll talk about it off the plane. He gets up, grabs his bag, and quietly exits the plane.
And then they took off about 30 minutes later.
And you know what I would have been singing as he's walking off the plane? There goes my hero. What's another day?
Why is he your hero?
There goes my hero.
Why is he your hero?
Because he is in retaliation of the smelly salad that was brought on the plane.
So I know you're just full of crap right now, and you don't mean a word of that. You don't mean a word of that. Yeah, but the flight was like the crew. Can you imagine if he started off? They hadn't even left the ground yet. How horrible that flight would have been. Halfway to Phoenix or wherever they were heading.
You know, seriously, as an adult, if you ever have a problem with something, I don't know that the best response is to respond,
by passing
well, I don't like what you're doing either. So,
yeah.
I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this world is going to hell in a handbasket. That's what I say.
It is going to hell in a handbasket, and here's another reason why. I teased this on a couple of podcasts ago. I'm finally getting to it. This is more interesting stuff. This comes. Why are you making that face?
I'm hoping the F word isn't in it anymore. You know, that's my least favorite word.
No, the F word isn't in this one, but this has to do with masturbation.
Oh, great.
So somebody apparently posted on either Twitter/X or the threads or somewhere, because I saw the post, and it was a female, and she just had a hot sports opinion. I will read her hot sports opinion.
Is it going to be like?
No, it's not.
X-rated?
No.
All right.
You
already said the subject matter.
It's boorish and in poor taste, but it's not X-rated. It's not vulgar. You could argue,
in my opinion,
well,
is it vulgar?
you could argue that it is vulgar. But anyway, the comments on the social media, people are so creative and so funny.
Oh my gosh. I wish I was half as funny as some of the commenters. I mean, truly, they're like, they should be SNL writers. And these are just normal people, just keyboard warriors, keyboard comedians.
So I'm going to read you the post, and then I took some of my favorite comments. I think there's about 10 or 12 of my favorite comments in response to her post.
What sound effect are you going to hit after each and every one?
Possibly the rim shot.
Everyone?
Don't know. Okay. Maybe.
All right. Get ready for the overkill.
Okay. Her post was, I don't know if I need to change my voice or.
I prefer you not.
Okay. This is verbatim. If you jacking off multiple times a week, something is wrong with you for real. FR.
So who's posting that?
A female.
Okay, that's her statement.
That's her statement.
Okay, that's her statement.
That's her statement to the universe.
All right.
Is
if you're doing that multiple times a week, something is wrong with you.
If you jacking off multiple times a week, something is wrong with you. FR. For real.
For real. Okay. And now we're going to read the comments.
Comments. What are you, the dean of dick beating? What are you, the wanker warden? What she thinks she is, the jerk judge or something? She's the masturbation magistrate.
Oh, that's good. That's a good alliteration.
What if she thinks she's the baron of beating off?
Oh my gosh. Baroness.
What are you, the meat minister?
Mm.
Girl thinks she's the penis police.
Oh my gosh. Is this almost over?
Acting like the pecker patrol. Guess she thinks she's the chairwoman of chicken choking.
Oh gosh.
We're almost done.
How many more?
3.
Okay.
She must think she's the superintendent of schlong slinging.
2 more.
I guess she's the principal of penis play.
All right. That's 2 times you got to use the penis word.
And my favorite comment.
All right, here we go.
Hundreds of comments
Man,
that
I wish we
saw
had a drum roll right
on
now.
this thread. Do I have a drum roll?
I don't know, but
No.
gosh, what a time to use one.
B acting like she wrote the masturbation cocklamation.
All right, that's good. That's a good play on words right there. It's a good play on words. All right, well, that's a good list. That's a good list. I have a list too. It's kind of hard to change course after something like that, but I have one.
The masturbation cocklamation.
I know. Are you crying?
It's good stuff.
Are you crying from laughter right now?
People are so creative.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a clever
How
one.
come
actually.
I couldn't think of that? Oh my goodness.
I'm actually pleased you didn't think of that, but I can see where that's a very clever one. The number 1 one was pretty clever.
Oh.
All right. Before we started the podcast, we have a little, Allen greets everybody that comes into the live studio audience. He has this little routine he does where he welcomes everybody in, some familiar faces. Usually it's all familiar faces. This is a small but loyal
Because I champion the listener.
But we aren't doing anything to grow it. I mean, it's just like the same people every week. We should be welcoming more audience members.
What are you talking about? It's more than it was last time. We're growing
we didn't even do one last time. We didn't even do it live. But anyway, it's just a small, loyal few. So Allen gets on there and he's welcoming everybody. And we're doing a little chit chat. And how did it come up that because Emma Kellie tonight, she was talking about when she's going to graduate and when her high school reunion is going to be. And am I going to be alive?
Whoa.
And I said, well, because this is a punch in the gut, if Tommy Jean's still in the audience, I don't know if she's left yet or not. This is going to be our 40th high school reunion this year. Mm-hmm. Not that we're having a reunion, but it's 40 years that we graduated. And Emma Kellie said, 40, when will be my 40th anniversary? I said, well, you graduate in 25, so yours will be in 65. And she said, would you be alive? I said, no, I'm going to be dead. And then she said something. I said, I'm going to probably miss a lot of good stuff that you're going to do because I had you so late in life. And she promised me that she's going to try to have a baby before I die. So we were talking about babies. Okay. And then not really meaning it, I said, I wish I could have another baby. Now, I did really want another baby when we first got together, because when you love someone, you want to make a baby with them and you want to see how cute your little offspring would be, right? But then Allen said no and reminded me that I was 50.
I'm being misrepresented.
You said no.
Not how the conversation went.
How did it go in your recollection?
It didn't go like that.
How did it go?
It didn't go, I desperately want a baby.
I didn't say I desperately
And then Allen says, no, that's not what happened.
What happened?
We had a discussion.
And you said no.
No, I said, I don't know that we're at the stage in life where that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I would have to have some surgeries and a lot of medical intervention.
Well, there's that.
To birth another child.
Yeah, there's that. That's one thing. That's just one thing.
My womb was closed.
Right.
By the Lord and by doctors.
And I didn't want to be 65 and have like a kid in kindergarten.
So anyway, I'm not going to have any more babies. But what do I love? It's one of my most favorite things is baby names. I love hearing new baby names. It makes me so mad when a celebrity won't reveal their baby name because I'm like, I want to know your baby's name. I just love baby names. I think it's fun. And I don't like it when people wait and just, find out what the sex of their baby is, because how can you buy monogram stuff? You don't know the baby's name. So anyway, there is, and I know people write to me and ask for me for suggestions and help with them naming babies. I love it. I love coming up with the perfect middle name. It's my favorite. So anyway, there's this new thing that came out today. I saw it on Yahoo News, and there's a site called Baby Center. Okay. Anyway, they've released their annual list of the most popular baby names. Now, they said they've been doing this for over 20 years, that this is based on information submitted by parents. So it's people who actively participate. I know there's some of them that go by the census, or not by the census, by the Social Security office, because you have to file for SSN numbers now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this is updated in real time. So for 2023, if you're expecting a baby or if you have a baby and you want to see, I'm not going to do, there's 100 names on this list. Okay. So I'm going to do the top 10 for girls for 2023. Olivia, Emma. Now Emma's been up there at the top since Friends when Rachel named her baby Emma. I wanted to name my daughter Emma since my grandmother died. My grandmama Rasberry, her name was Lou Emma Spears. She went by Emma. And when she died when I was in 6th grade, I said, I'm going to name my daughter Emma Kellie because Kelly's also a family name. So I had it before Jennifer Aniston. Anyway, Olivia, Emma, Amelia, that's your mom's name. Sophia, Charlotte, Ava, Isabella, Mia, Luna, and Evelyn. I have an Aunt Evelyn. May she rest in peace. But those are pretty. Those are the popular names for 2023.
All those are very pretty, yeah.
Now for boys, the popular names are Noah, Liam, Oliver, Elijah, Mateo, Lucas, Levi, Leo, Ezra, and Luca. Now, my little great nephew, his name is Ezra. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing those were in order. So he's number 9 most popular name for 2023. Now, because it's updated in real time, we're not even a full month into the new year. The list has changed just a little bit. You know, so in real time, the top 10 baby names for both sexes is pretty much the same. But for boys, the classic names Michael and James have re-entered the top 10.
Michael James.
But that's those 2 names. And also for girls, we're seeing a surge for the name Aurora and Ellie.
What about Aries?
That's not on the top 10 list.
That was the young lady up in Sturgis who opened the beer bottle with her butt cheeks.
Oh, I am an Aries.
Her name was Aries.
I cannot do that with my flat butt. I could probably give you a good panini. A good flat pressed sandwich.
She opened a beer bottle with her ass cheeks.
That's a talent. And I don't know how you discover you have that. All right. But they've also, because of names falling in popularity, they said that these names are in danger of becoming extinct. Now,
come on.
Extinct is a strong word. But you're not going to see much of them in the future. They use the word extinct, not me.
Okay.
So the top name, at the risk of extinction.
The suspense is killing me.
Brooke.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
Blake, Mackenzie, Brooklyn, Charlie, Reagan, McKenna, Finley, Amanda.
My sister's name.
And Michelle. Those names are declining rapidly in popularity. For boys, the names that are declining, Julius, Jaden, Johnny, Raiden. Have you ever met a Raiden?
I never have, no.
Reed, Brady, Nasser, Ronan, Bradley, and Clayton. Those are the names that are declining most in popularity.
What about Walter?
It's not on the list. It might not be anywhere on the list. It might not be in the, I don't know. But anyway, that's interesting if you're looking for baby names.
Yeah.
Because the old names, like when I said I wanted Emma to be my daughter's name, everybody's like, that's an old lady's name. I'm like, yeah, it's my grandmama's name. But now these older names have become, beautiful. You have baby girls being named Harriet and things like that. So anyway, if anybody needs any help naming babies, I'd love to help you out. You can email me at podcast@kellyandallen.com.
Some names, like, they're fine for an adult, but I can't imagine like a little infant named that name.
Like what?
Kevin.
But there are a lot of Kevins. I've dated 2 or 3 Kevins.
But a little baby named Kevin is kind of weird.
I know.
But an adult Kevin is fine.
I know a guy that I used to work with. He named his baby boy Hank. Not Henry. It was Hank. That's the baby's name.
The baby's name was Hank.
Hank. And I went to college with a young man. So we were in like our late teens, early 20s, and his name was Bart, just like Bart Simpson. Bart.
It wasn't Bartholomew.
It was, it might have been Bartholomew, but his name was Bart Manley.
Well, usually
Isn't that a great name? Bart Manley. I wonder what happened to Bart Manley.
Usually you're Bartholomew if you're Bart.
I would imagine, but usually you're Henry, not Hank. His name was Hank. You can name your kid whatever you want. Well, not really, because there's some judges that'll they'll refuse to have a name submitted. I remember when a long time ago, this rock, oh God, I think it was a lady in Jefferson Starship. I think she wanted to name her baby God, and the court wouldn't allow her, so she had to change it.
I don't know about that one. Might be careful with that.
Well, I'm just saying, but I don't know now. That stuff's changed so much. You could name your baby probably God or anything else now. I don't know, but they still decline names. Anyway, that's it. That's my
good.
interesting thing.
Good list. Yeah, that was interesting stuff. We did some good, interesting stuff today.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm trying to control not coughing. I'm about to have a coughing fit, and I'm really using discipline not to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting over a sinus infection. If y'all were listening to the radio Friday, I was completely out of a voice,
mm-hmm.
and my doctor heard me and called in a Z-Pack. And today's the last day of my medication. And the more I'm talking, I'm starting to get that feeling like
stop talking.
I need to stop talking. I feel like I should have had a glass of wine with me, because I when I have a glass of wine, it feels soothing on my throat.
You should have seen the faces Kelly made at me yesterday when I was just sneezing.
It was just, well, you don't do subtle sneezes. You put your whole body and being into it. You do it with gusto.
I'm sorry I don't sneeze right.
But you don't sneeze once. It's like, I don't say God bless you, because I have to wait until you're done. So I'm looking at you side eye like.
It's usually 2
and 3. It can be 3. So I have to wait, and I'm looking at you like, you got one more in you, buddy. That's what I'm looking at.
Buddy. Huh?
That's what I'm looking at you like.
Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a buddy.
I wish you would.
You think you wrote the masturbation proclamation?
No, I did not.
All right, babe. Well, you got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, this was fun.
I need to stop talking. My throat's
stop.
Really,
well, stop
really
talking.
Yeah, it's starting to irritate me.
Okay. Well, I love you desperately.
I love you.
Love our listeners desperately.
I love y'all. Thanks for listening.
I love all your baby names desperately.
Don't forget Valentine's Day's coming up. Make reservations.
Yeah, we got to figure out what we're doing. I think
we already made a reservation. I made a reservation.
I think we're just going out to eat.
Well, it's on a Wednesday, which kind of sucks.
Well,
so
we're going to need to bring about 3 $100 bills for this thing.
Well, I mean, a lot of people will be celebrating the weekend before, or the weekend. I'm about to start coughing, or the weekend after. So,
yeah, screw that.
Yeah. We're doing it on Wednesday.
I'm doing it on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
and I am sure we will podcast again real soon. And in the immortal words of the great Keanu Reeves, life is good when you have a good sandwich. Bye. All right.
Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you, Michael.
Michael James.
Isn't that funny? Both of your names.
Yeah, no baby Lindas. That's right. All right, guys.
Are you just signing off?
I'm signing off. Got stuff to do. Last chance to a sandwich and the Peter Police.
I'm not putting that in the title.
A sandwich and the Wanker Warden. A sandwich and some. A sandwich and some Pecker Patrol.
I'm not doing penis in the title. Y'all need to come with something else.
A sandwich and some Meat Minister. God, so ridiculous. Oh, a sandwich and some penis in the title. That was Michael's.
Michael?
I thought it was good.
Michael, you know better.
I thought it was very creative.
You're not helping me.
I thought it was very creative.
Oh, look, Texas has some weird laws about baby names.
Oh.
Discover the appellations that are illegal in the state.
A sandwich and some airplane toots.
You can't have any names with the @ symbol.
Well, yeah.
The name Adolf Hitler is outlawed.
Well, who wants to name their baby that?
Jesus Christ is a no, but Jesus would be a yes, right? You cannot name your baby Messiah. No names longer than 100 characters. 1069 is an illegal name in Texas. Majesty. Why can't you name your kid Majesty? Why can't you name your kid Majesty? Or King? That can't be right. You can name your kid King. That can't be right. Or Queen? Numbers are illegal. Roman numerals. Special characters. Umlauts or tildes. Tildes? You can't name your baby Santa Claus.
God.
I don't know.
Why would you want to name your kid Santa Claus?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you. That was interesting.
Okay, guys. Yeah, Michael said he can't vouch for the article.
Oh, I don't know about that. I have to do a little bit of digging.
Yeah. All right, peeps. We'll see.
Did anybody come up with a decent title?
Well, yeah, we had lots of them, but you shot every one
I'm
of
not
them
doing
down.
one with a penis reference in the title. I'm just not doing it. I mean, come on. You know me better than that. You want to start writing these? You can put any title you want.
I will. I'll do every title.
No, you won't. You won't do it.
I'll do every title the way I want. A sandwich in a few inches. A sandwich and some. We did the long arm hair. A sandwich and some arm hair. A sandwich and some. What was the other one? Oh, the guy that tooted on the plane. A sandwich and some. Well, we talked about falling. I don't know, guys. I'm not very good at naming them. Michael, you and. Well, Christy always gets shot down, but you usually come up with some good ones. A sandwich and some beans and rice. A sandwich and some beans and rice. Whoa, a sandwich and a 7-incher.
Maybe. See, maybe.
Well, it was 7 1/4. 7.24.
A sandwich and a 7.25 incher.
But you won't name it with a penis reference. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, guys.
Bye.
We'll see y'all soon on the social media. Thanks for being here. Michael, come on, man. That's true, Michael. It also depends if it's, you do it on the top or on the bottom, right? You get a much different measurement. All right. Bye, guys.